Welcome to the Up Podcast, raw real talk on everything young parenting.
From self-care, co-parenting, and family planning, to balancing school, work, relationships, and goals.
Together, we're challenging society's assumptions and building a safe and supportive community for young parents.
One honest conversation at a time. So join us on the journey.
Hey guys, welcome back. Hi Mom. As you guys see, a very special episode. We have mine and Brandy's beautiful mothers joining us today to talk about all things grandparents and really how it relates to our experience as a young parent. So we'll be jumping right into it today. But as always, it's Divine.
And I'm Brandy. And yes, like Divine said, we have very special guests. It's going to be such a fun ride, y'all. If you could have seen our pre-recording conversation, you would understand how fun today is going to be. So we will introduce our parents. You already know my mom, Deidre, Dr. Beckles, whatever. She's going by today. I just call her mommy. My daughter calls her Mimi, and that's what we do. But welcome back, Mom.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for that introduction.
Yes, and my mother, Tina, Miss T, or as my daughter says, thanks. That is her. That is what she goes by. So we're super excited to have you guys on today.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. Today we're going to be talking about, again, grandparenting, but we're going to start back from the beginning because if it wasn't for us, neither of you would be grandparents. So we have to talk about from the beginning, right?
Okay.
So
yeah.
Raw first thoughts. What were your first thoughts when you found out that we were pregnant? And be honest. So did you cry? Did you cuss? Did you yell? Did you laugh? What did you think secretly?
Okay, so Brandy bamboozled me into coming to her. Don't look like that. Bamboozled me into coming to her apartment at UCLA. She said, "Mom, come over for dinner. I'm ordering your favorite pizza from California Pizza Kitchen."
Wow.
And I knew California Pizza Kitchen is expensive. It's not Domino's. It's not Pizza Hut. So I'm already feeling a little bit special. And I'm feeling excited. And then she says that the father of her child is also going to be there. So then immediately I'm pensive. And I'm thinking of all of the things that it could be. Pregnancy, mind you, was not on the list. I was like, oh, they're going to tell me.
I believe it.
They've been friends for so long. Now they want to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
They want to be boyfriend and girlfriend. They want me to be a part of this. Even went as far left. I stopped here, though. I went as far left as maybe they're moving in together. That would be weird. But, like, I'm getting my favorite pizza.
Yeah.
Open. Let's go. Right? So I get there and we're there for a little bit. Then I think it was somewhere between the pizza getting there and me potentially taking my first bite of the pizza where they shared that Brandy was pregnant. Not only was she pregnant, she was like near the end of her first trimester. So all of a sudden, I wasn't even hungry anymore. I was like, oh, this is interesting.
So how did she say it to you? Like, oh, we have something to tell you?
That's about how it sounded. Like, we have something to tell you. That's about how it sounded.
What I said was, I'm pregnant and he's the father. That's it.
So that would be it too. Because I told you Brandy is like, she bamboozled me.
Okay.
Brandy.
And I definitely remember being like, so many thoughts ran through my mind at that time. But I think that, okay, so all the thoughts. But I think what was overwhelming for me is like, I gotta go. I have to get out of here. I may have asked you a couple questions, Brandy, and you can tell me if I did, because I don't know what they were, if I did ask questions. But I remember thinking, I have to get out of here so that I can compose myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can be graceful in my response so that I can honestly do what my mom did for me when I told my mom I was pregnant at 15.
Okay.
And so in my mind, I was thinking to myself, okay, if I can leave, I can gather the thoughts to be what my mother was when I needed her to be a certain way. Because my mother asked no questions. My mother, I mean, I think she cursed. She was like, okay, Deidre, this is, I'm going to say sucky, but she said the other word because she curses. She was like, this is sucky, but this is where we are. And if you still want to be a doctor, I will help you. So tell me what you want to do and we'll do it. That was probably the only thing she said about pregnancy until right before Brandy was due, because, you know, she knew I was a sensitive child. And so she didn't really go there.
Yeah.
She knew how much I could handle. I knew how much Brandy could handle. So I was like, I need to get out of here so that I can formulate a graceful response. And when I come back to her, I want it to be what she needs it to be, right? Because clearly this is coming, it's happening. And when people ask me all the time, when people ask me to this day, how were you pregnant at 15 and how did you become so successful? I'm like, the grace of God and a supportive mom. The grace of God and a supportive mom. So I'm like, she already know Jesus. I didn't did that part. I checked that off the list. Like, I have to be supportive. So I left. I cried. I did cry. I'm going to be very honest. I cried all night. I took a mental health day the next day from work. I went to the beach. I cried all day. And then when I talked to her next, I feel like I was graceful. Like, I feel like by the next day I was ordering cribs and getting the nursery at my house ready. Like, I feel like I put on my big girl panties. And then when I talked to Brandy, I wanted it to be something that she could receive as support. Is that how you remember it?
Yeah, no, the next day you texted me or called me and you said, you know what, I love you today more than yesterday or something like that. Like, I always remember that. So I was like, okay, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But what was your response, Miss Tina? What did you think? We know Divine's story. She talks about it on the website all the time, but I'd love to know.
Because I don't know her story. And see, when she approached me, she said, Mother, how about would you like to do the podcast about grandmothers? I said, I would love it. I love being a grandmother. Like, oh, but you didn't really say about being a mother, because this is being a mother. It's not about, I raised you, and when you were pregnant, I'm still raising you. And, you know, so when I found out, we were going to the doctors when I found out. And I think at that moment, we had been on vacation. She's wearing bathing suits. I'm thinking, you were like 7 months pregnant.
Well,
it was like October. Remember, they thought the baby was due in December?
I don't remember that.
Okay, there was no
5-6 months then.
7. We'll go with the 6 because I remember they changed the due date later. But at first, you know, you're going to the doctors and you find out that the baby's due in 2 months. But later on, we found out. So you're right. It's probably 6 months because we found out the baby was due January the 16th, somewhere in there. So with the love of God. And I just was like, there was no need because you're educated on what it takes to make a baby. So it's just like, you're pregnant. And I never said, I can't believe you're pregnant. Right. But when she told me, I was there and they said, you're pregnant. And now we have to figure out how far along pregnant you are. And the only thing I can say is, I love you. Because you don't want to say anything else. And I do love her. And I said, well, you're going to have to let people know, let your father know, because I don't want to tell him. I wanted you to wait and get married, because I told you having babies is work. But I knew it was going to be work for me. I wasn't just thinking of the work for her. I was thinking of, I'm still raising you and you're still my child. I'm telling you to pick up your clothes out the bathroom, or I'm telling you you haven't did the dishes. Now we're adding a baby. Like, you're not even responsible for yourself. How are you going to be? And she was, but I'm thinking, these are the thoughts you go through. Like, how are you going to be responsible? Are we gonna have Pampers laying around, bottles? Okay, it's time to feed her. Divine, you gotta wake up. She gotta eat. Like, cause I'm still raising Divine. So, I mean, trust and believe me, it was great. It worked out. It got a little stressful because I worked a lot of hours, and she had my support 100%. So if you have my support 100%, that means I'm running to you to all your doctor's appointments, to this, to that. And I didn't have any help. And my mother was away. So it was like me on my own, struggling 16 hours, being forced to work, not getting any sleep. It was hard on me, but I never really showed her what it was like. But I just kept going. I just kept, but I didn't want to put stress on her being pregnant. But I wanted more because I knew she wanted to do things in life. And I knew a baby was going to be work, but she managed, got up, took her baby to school, daycare, and I enjoyed the baby being there because that was like when I came home off work, it was my shift. I was the one. I said, do what you gotta do. But I'm feeding her. I gotta bathe her. You gotta do it like this. You gotta do this. It's my, bathing was me. Doing this was me. So I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was work. It was stressful at times, but it was never nothing that she would think that I was mad at her. I just said I was hurt. And I did shed a few tears. She never seen me. And you know what kind of hurt me? Because I had to tell my mother. But I said to Divine, I said, because I know how my mom raised me. And she said, you're not having no child till you get married. That was her main thing for us, even though she didn't. But that's what she wanted. And I was one of them that wanted to make my mom happy. So I knew I could instill that in my children. So I wanted that for Divine. And I said, Mom, I have something to tell you. And as I was telling her, I was cracking my throat because it was like me telling my mom I'm pregnant, and I don't know why it felt that way, but it changed because Divine was her baby. Divine is my mom's baby, and I always say, Divine, you're my mother's child. I'm not, but I always call her daughter because they have a close bond. Sometimes I think they're closer than me and Divine. So I said, I have something to tell you. And I said, Divine. And then I just broke down, she's pregnant. And she said, it's okay. Now, back in the day, because, church folks, it was different. They weren't doing that. But my mom said, babies are a blessing. It's okay.
Yeah. Randy and Divine, you probably see this a lot in your work. One of the things that probably makes a huge difference in whether a teenage parent is successful or not is their support system. And I feel like when people don't have a Deidre or a Tina or any bit of a village to help support this process, especially when you're still growing yourself and maturing yourself, I just don't know how they do it. I don't know how I would have done it. And so what a blessing when you have people who will support you in a way that you need to be supported during that period of time that is so important to be supported.
Kind of just piggybacking off of Miss Deidre, it definitely does make a difference having a Miss Tina, mommy, and Miss Deidre on your side. I often say, like, I'm doing this alone, like as far as like a partner in that sense, but my family always reminds me, like, you're not doing this alone. Like, we are here for you and you don't have to go through this by yourself. So it definitely shaped my journey as a young parent, having you, Mom, and my family by my side. I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it the same without you guys. I did not get to ever hear your experience of it, so it is touching. Um, my mom works very hard, and I think that is where I get my work ethic and of just that motion of just never stopping. And my mom does that. She works long hours, gets forced hours, comes home to cooking. She might have told me to take the meat out. I did not. So she's starting from scratch. And then I'm getting homework. And like she said, she was my transportation through and through. So it definitely makes a difference. And I appreciate hearing your side of things
How was
because
that with the homework? Ma, I
oh,
gotta
yeah,
get this done.
she
And then,
helped me write essays and all. She went to college with me as well as the baby. But yeah, most definitely, I appreciate hearing your side of things because I don't think about it enough. So thank you, Mom.
yeah.
And I know you kind of answered this question briefly, but Miss Beckles, I'm kind of curious for you and Miss Brandy. What is the hard truth? Do you think Brandy was ready to have a baby?
Ooh.
Be honest. Be honest.
Oh gosh. So ready encompasses so many things though, right? Like, do you desire and do you have the heart to be a good mom and a caring mom is one thing. Um, but the other things are, are you financially able? Are you emotionally whole and healed? Are you in a space where you can say that if tomorrow I woke up and everybody in my support system was gone, can I handle all of these things on my own? So I think the one thing that I didn't worry about Brandy about was that Brandy is one of the smartest people that I know. Brandy is one of the hardest working people I know. And Brandy is one of the most loving people I know. So I think when you put that combination together, okay, those are really good pieces of a motherhood puzzle. But I mean, Brandy and Lyric lived here for how many years after Lyric was born? The first
Well,
time.
yes. Well, I had an apartment in LA, but you
Mm-hmm.
wanted me to come home. And
Oh,
so I just kept in LA and I
that was
stayed
your.
home with the baby. So I kind of had
You
to,
invited them home, right?
Well,
and
because
I
what
went back when
they
she was 2. So I was
Okay.
there for probably about a year and a half, 2 years.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She got a year and a half, then she got into daycare in LA. But yeah, I came home for about a year and a half.
Because that first stint, and I mean, I feel like it's just like what my mother did for me. It was like, I remember I was in my 10th grade year of high school, and my mother would go to school and pick up my homework. For the 4 weeks that I was off for Brandy, my mother was like, you said you wanted to do this. I'm going to help you do
Mm-hmm.
it, your part. And, she would go to my high school and she would collect the work from my teachers and I
Mm-hmm.
would work. And so when I got back to school 4 weeks later, I hadn't missed a beat. I was right in line
Right.
with the rest of my class.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like if I could do that for Brandy, like Brandy could come home, you could still wrap your head around this school thing and you could have all the support you needed with the baby. My mother came to stay with us many a night when Lyric was first born, and she took the night shift and I went to work in the morning, and
Okay.
I had the evening shift when I got off of work, and Brandy was with the baby during the day. And then that continued. When Brandy went back to school, she got back to UCLA, and she would, you've probably told this on a podcast, Brandy, but my mother I would take Lyric to work with me. Lyric was months old, and I would take her to work with me. The nurses would pass her around for my first couple of patients.
Mm.
My mother could get to the office.
That's
My
good
mother would
support.
come there. I would come out of the room from being with the patient, gather Lyric from one of the nurses, take her downstairs to my mom, go back up, be with the patient. Like, you can't miss a beat
Yeah.
in the support that you give, because you feel like if one thing falls, the whole bottom could fall out. So you put the things in place. And so it was like, let's do things the way that I know worked. Brandy probably would have been perfectly capable of doing this on her own. It would have been harder, and it
Yeah.
would have been unnecessarily hard because she had us. But I felt like if you come home and we can get into a rotation, then that's going to set you up for more success. So, was she ready? I think she did a really good job at being who she needed to be very quickly. Think that I would have always, as a mom, you don't want cycles to repeat themselves. So the desire would have been for her to finish school and get married and, have a supportive partner who could help her, and for her to have a different experience than I did. That would have always my goal. That was always the reason I worked so hard. And so I think that that would have been an ideal situation, but definitely, I mean, she fell in line. She did what she needed to do very quickly. She was her part of the rotation. She did very, very, very well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Brandy. You raised her well, Deidre.
Thank you, Tina.
Yep.
You raised Divine well too. This child with her gorgeous self. I just love every time I can be in her presence. I love it.
Yes.
We did. Let's high five each other, Miss Tina. We did good.
We got this.
We did it. We did it.
I have a follow-up question for both of you. Just thinking about, right, even though I was not in high school still when I had Lyric, and Divine was, right? So she was still very much so in the household, but I moved back home and I was in the household. How did y'all feel about balancing the identity as mother and grandmother? Like, do you feel like you ever had moments where you looked at us as single moms, right? We were just kind of figuring it out and we didn't have help from a partner, but looking at us, and did you ever feel like you need to do that differently? Or did you ever feel like you wanted to step in, but you were like, like teetering the line of that? Let's talk about those stories, because I know you're smiling, Mom, because I know we have those. But Miss Tina,
Tina, take it.
I'm going to say I never teetered. I just jumped in. It wasn't like, should I? No, I'm there. Okay, now, wait a minute now. We're not doing this. She got to go to bed. We got to do this. How many ounces? Because, like I said, she never had a baby. This is all new to her, and I'm still raising her. Still taking her to the doctors for doctor's appointments. It wasn't like she was driving. Everything we had to do, all her shots, everything, I'm there. They talked to both of us like we're the ones raising the child. So I'm like, okay, Divine, it's 3:00. She got to get her medicine. There wasn't going to be like, should I see if she's going to do it by herself? Maybe she will. No, honey, come on, get her medicine. Now, did you check? Does she need change? Let me change her. And I just jumped in and did it. We don't teeter-totter with no baby. Baby got to get fed. And then I got to feed Divine. And then I got to eat, take a nap, and go to work. Yeah. So I didn't have time to be worrying about her feelings. Maybe I should have. But I didn't. I'm going to just be honest. I didn't. I'm thinking back now. Should I have? I probably could have, but I didn't want, for no reason, the baby, not to suffer, but maybe things wouldn't be on time. Because I'm like, what time did she eat last? Like, I'm into let's write it down. She ate at 3. Let's feed her at 5. But it was like, I don't think she's hungry. She just had a bottle. Give her another one. But it was good because she got love. She got everything. I think at the time Darian was home, right? Or he came home from college. So we all was just in, okay, who wants to feed her? She needs to eat or whatever. I think we enjoyed when they lived there, we enjoyed having them there. But it was never a teeter-totter moment for me. It was jump in and handle it. If you like they always say, if you want something done, do it yourself. But we had a lot of funny episodes, but we don't teeter-totter. We just go for it. That's how I was. Maybe I could have done that different. Someone told me, just let it be, but it would have been hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to hear Brandy and Divine and what their understanding of how we grandparented was. But I feel like I was a little bit different than you, Miss Tina. I feel like I did teeter because it always felt she's so sensitive. She's my sensitive baby. Oh, she's so sensitive. She's gotten a little bit more hardcore because she has to deal with me on one side and Lyric on the other side, and Lyric and I are a lot alike. So she gets the grit
You're
from
going
both
to
of
get
us.
it.
So
Yeah.
she's kind of a little bit more hardcore, but she's so sensitive. And so I would always be like, I don't want to hurt her feelings. I don't want her to feel like she's not, capable. And so I think I held back a lot so that she would feel comfortable growing in her parenting. Now, there
Okay.
were things that I did that I can remember. There was an episode, Brandy and I talk about it all the time, where, Brandy was getting dressed and we were going to leave somewhere. And we were waiting for Brandy, Lyric and I outside by the car door. And Lyric was a little bitty baby. She was probably like 3 months. So I said, "Oh, let's walk around and look at the little butterflies and look at the plants and feel the grass on your feet."
Grandparent,
Things.
grandmother stuff.
Oh, Brandy came out and she was livid. Brandy said, "Mom, you're letting Lyric experience grass without me." I mean, she was, and she just went in
You had
tears.
you had one
And
of
she,
them. I see why you teeter
oh,
totter. I'd have stayed on the other side if I
yeah,
had like
so I
what?
was always wondering, like, can I do this? Is this going to step on Branson? She was so emotional that day, and she was so angry with me. And I'm like, she's enjoying the grass. Look at her laughing. Look at her smiling. And so I think that there were always these times where I felt like, let me balance out what I
Yeah.
know my daughter needs with
Yeah.
what my granddaughter I feel like needs and deserves with what I feel like I need. So it was kind of eggshelly for a
Okay.
little. It was
The
kind of eggshelly.
hormones.
Even
It
the
was
the
her hormones.
the character of the child mom, because even at 21, if let's face it, like you're still raising your babies, right? Brandy's
Yeah.
say your age, Brandy. Brandy's
Yeah.
older than 21 now, and I'm still feeling like I'm raising her in a different way, right? She's grown, she's fully capable, she's
But
fully
you do
but
your
I feel like
mother.
I'm pouring. I'm still
Yeah.
pouring. Still
Yes.
feel like there's always more to
You're
learn.
yes.
And so as you're teaching at certain ages, I'm sure it was very different than if she was a teenager in the home and going to school, right? Like I
Yeah.
would have had a different, I would have had to do a different set of things that I had to do. But because Brandy was an adult and she was
Yeah.
just in my home, at any moment she could go to her home, and I didn't want that either. So I teetered. Now my mom, because in her generation, it's very different. She didn't teeter at all. She just snuck. She was like, I won't tell Brandy because I know Brandy's sensitive, but this baby is going to get KFC, right? You 8 months, I'm going to pull the chicken off the bones. I'm going to
Oh,
give you the
yeah.
mashed
Now
potatoes.
chew on
And
the
then when you
bone.
get home, you're going to be full and fed and happy. And I just
Amen.
tell
That's
Brandy.
how we do. That's how, yeah. And I always remind Divine, I said, Divine, anything we do is out of love. I often tell her that even today. She said, Ma, you don't need to, no, I'm letting you know this out of love. There's nothing I'm do. When you know someone only loves you and everything they do is out of love, you should never get mad at them for anything. How could they? Because they're loving you. It might not look like the love you want, but I always say, hey, baby, out of love. This is love for you that I'm giving you. If I'm doing something special for your daughter, then you know how much I love you. I love you that much, Divine, that I'm willing to do this for your child because she's part of you.
Yeah. Miss
Yeah.
Tina,
Yeah.
I just told Brandy that a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Okay, so in our defense, let me because you asked, right, how do we experience things? I'm going to go, and then Divine, you share too. Divine and I talk about this a lot, and we talk about this and I'm sure you experience this, Mom, but we talk about the stigma that young parents face all the time, right? They always are in scrutiny. There's always some sort of opinion. And so I remember even with my grandma watching Lyric during the day, I mean, it wasn't like I was gone. I would go to school and come right back. Like I saw my child every single day. But I remember somebody along the line in our family saying like, "Oh, you just like use your grandma, or you just dump her." And I'm like, "Do you understand? I pump in the car on the way home. Like I'm with my child every single day. I go to school 2 days a week, but I'm with her every other day." And so one thing that Divine and I talk about a lot is that because there's so much judgment and there's this idea that like you made your bed, you have to lay in it, you have to do everything, you need to prove that you're good enough and prove that you're a good enough parent and prove that you're worthy. I think that's where those things come from, right? Like if I miss a beat, if I miss this milestone, that means that I'm not a good mom, and that means because I'm young, like I didn't do this thing right? Or if my child eats KFC and doesn't only strictly have breast milk, then that means that I suck as a parent. And see, this is exactly what everybody says. Like, I shouldn't be a parent anyways. And so I think that some of those things, yes, are hormones, but also some of those things we're up against that as young parents all the time, like always having to prove that we're good enough. Our kids are smart enough. They're hitting every milestone. Like, otherwise, it reflects on us and the decisions that we made.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think, Divine? Do you feel like
Yeah, I agree. I think for those instances like that my mom referenced about like maybe getting on her about something, I think it definitely comes from that perspective of just feeling like what am I doing wrong that you feel like you need to replace or reinstill? And like I would say in the beginning of times, like I didn't feel that as much. Like my mom said, I heavily relied and needed her presence. So it didn't affect me in that way because I needed her. But I think once I started hearing like commentary, I remember one time one of your friends' mom made a comment like, "Oh, that's your baby. Like, that's not her baby, that's your baby." And I think as she got older, that is when it really started to sting and like strip away of not me so much appreciating the help, but like just wanting that help compared to me just figuring out and just doing it on my own. Because then as a single mother dealing with my child, then I always struggled with like identity and as far as like authoritative figure. I couldn't navigate that as being that authoritative figure for my daughter because she relies so much on her grandparents and my other village, where I felt like I wasn't being taken serious because she can turn on to them and maybe, just have that
She's
connection. And
slick.
that when it, yes, kind of
She's
strips that
slick.
or different times where like I'm parenting and like, excuse me, you or my other parent steps in and like tries to override the situation or even just speaks into it when it wasn't welcomed. I think those are the instances that like hurts my feelings and kind of just battles more of that internal identity crisis of I'm already struggling disciplining here, and now I'm not feeling like the parent. So like, is this your baby? Like at this point, do what you have to do. I'm stepping back.
Can I respond from the place of a 15-year-old mom previously and a physician and somebody who feels like she is healed and whole, and just say that at a certain point, and because while I hear what Brandy and Divine are saying, I think that there is this level of trigger that happens even, years and years later, because you all are not young parents anymore. You all have proven that you are amazing women, successful women, amazing.
Exactly.
And I think that at a certain point, there is this trauma response that triggers in you when somebody that loves and cares for you in your village is saying something, and it is not out of a space of judgment. It is not out of a space of you have not accomplished the things. It is really in love and in support. And if the response comes back from you in a way that feels like you're being attacked, I think that there's space to explore. Is that a triggering feeling from being a teen mom? And like, what do I need to do to work around that feeling. Because I know that even when Brandy and I have moments of like stickiness, even now, Brandy is this wonderfully successful person who has achieved every goal that she has ever set for herself thus far, who has raised this brilliant, amazing child. And there are still times where this child and I will butt heads on something small. So I think there's room for Brandy and Divine to explore, and all of their young parents to explore triggers that come up years and years and years later that have nothing to do with the day and age that you're in, but have to do with this space of needing validation that really is no longer
I think
necessary.
that's a good point, because I think even sometimes Divine says, "Mom, I'm an adult." I say, "I know how old you are. You don't have to," because I'm giving you some advice. Be careful. I don't want you hanging with certain people or out there, because anything can happen, and you have a daughter. I need you to be safe. She needs her mother. So if I'm saying like where you going or what's going on, I'm not saying that as you when you were 12 or 13. I'm saying that so I can know, and if anything ever happens, I'm there. I can, do what I need to do. They want you to know they're grown.
I want to make sure that we get into some of the grandparent like
Okay.
nitty-gritty. And so I want to know from you all kind of like, how has grandparenthood shaped who you are, shaped your identity? Has it felt like a second chance at parenting? Has it been challenging? Like, what are some of the joys and I don't know, let's talk about just how that's been, that transition.
I love it. I love babies, infants, babies. That's my favorite stage, and just them laying there sleeping, not moving, and you just love on them. That's my stage right there. But I've enjoyed, and Dynasty has been a handful, and ever since. But I've enjoyed every step of the way with her. And she calls me Stank Stank. And when she was a baby, I used to say, "Hey, Stank Stank, hey, Stank Stank." And then all of a sudden, she's called me Stank Stank. And I said, "Why are you calling me Stink Stink? Like, you don't call anybody else names that they call her." She said, "Because you're my Stink Stink." And to this day, even other people call me Stank Stank because they heard her say it. And so my son just had a baby, and I said, "I think I'm going to go by Mom, right?" So he was referring to me. He said, "Stank Stank, you going over Stink Stink?" And I'm thinking, didn't I say I want it? But I let it go. But I enjoy grandparenting, babysitting. Me and Dynasty, we have a close bond, a very close bond. And it almost felt like she wasn't my daughter, because my daughter Divine was the best child, the best baby, the best child, until she got older and you hanging with the wrong crowd, like fifth, sixth grade. But she was good. But Dynasty reminded me of my son. And every day, I don't care if you're jumping down the steps, if you say don't jump, she jumps. You say don't touch, she's touching. She might have a blister on her finger, but she's going to do it. You're going to stuff down the toilet, you're going to clog up. She does that. So I can relate to her behavior. It doesn't really get me. Now, Divine, it's going to get her. But I've had a child like that where he gave me so much. So it's like I have patience and love, and I understand it. And I understand it more where I don't even get frustrated. But I enjoy every step of the way. We talk for hours, me and Dynasty, FaceTime, write letters, text, do everything. But I love being a grandmother to her. And now I have a new baby, and I love being a grandparent to him. So it's all good. Yeah. What
I
about
agree.
you?
Grandparenting is, I hear a lot of people say that they could have done without the child and they could have just jumped straight to the grandparent. I don't feel
I don't,
that way.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't either.
that way
I
because
don't feel that
actually
way.
was a very good, like you say about Divine. Brandy was a very, very good baby. She was a very good
Mm-hmm.
child. She was
Yeah.
very easy. Brandy
Yeah.
didn't become not easy till she was like in her 30s. And so I
Oh.
feel like Brandy has always been just a pleasure and a joy. So I don't feel like I would have skipped parenting, but grandparenting, it is so sweet.
It
It is
is.
a sweet spot in life. It is
Yes.
a do-over space. It's an opportunity, especially when you were a parent young. It's an opportunity to do the things over that you didn't get to do. It's an opportunity to teach the things that you didn't get to teach because you are in a space of maturity and ability financially, etc. And so Lyric is so much like me. She has always been a lot like me. The first person to ever tell me that was my mother, very young, when Lyric was very young. And I was like, really? I thought you said I was a sweet baby. And she said, no, no, no. Lyric's not like you when you were a baby. Lyric is like you now. And
Now,
then I
yeah.
started to see these areas of Lyric and her personality. Lyric is very unbothered. Lyric is very much like, okay, I can show you better than I can tell you. And so she has this personality about her, and she has these looks about her where I'm like, you're gonna be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And so it allows me to see myself and the parts of myself that I don't remember in childhood, and the parts of myself that I wish were there as young as she has them. But it also, because Brandy was such a soft-spoken, timid child,
Okay.
Lyric is so fun. I mean, she's funny, she's fun, she's quick, she's witty. And so those are the parts where you get to just savor in those moments
Mm-hmm.
and send them home, because Lyric also, she's testy, she's all the things with her mom. She does not do those things with me. She does not behave in the ways or the challenging ways. So I get to send her home to challenge her mom, and then she
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just to giggle and sniggle and, go shopping together.
Yeah. I say Dynasty would challenge. She challenged us just like she challenges her mother. A lot of things she does, I see me as a child too, because I did a lot of things I wasn't supposed to do. And it seems like just the thing when she does something, I said, I could see myself doing that. But she's raw with her things and she's open about it. Where I might have thought it, but didn't act on it or didn't say it, but she'll come right out and say it. Like if your breath stinks, like, or just anything, anything. We don't do that. Well, your breath does stink. Or she hears somebody say a bad word, well, they said MF. Well, we don't say that. Well, I can't help it. They said MF. And she'll keep saying it about 4 or 5 times till you're like, where's the slipper? And then we put an end to it. But yeah, she's challenging. Divine has her hands full. I'll tell you that. She does. But I believe as she gets older, she'll get better because it does change. Yeah.
Well, hearing you say that I have a handful, and also always hearing commentary on how I parent, and also getting a glimpse of how you kind of handle things with Dynasty, so calm, understanding, not triggered. I'm curious, do you see like your parenting style reflect at all when comparing to mine, and do you see it at all? Because often you remind me that I wasn't parented like that. But I feel like that's how I was parented, and now like I'm seeing this whole different gentle version because I can't
Yeah, gentle
recall.
grandparenting. I'm like,
Yeah,
where?
Okay. You know what? Divine. Now you know darn well, Divine sometimes hollers. I didn't holler
I
at you.
do. Well,
I didn't holler, but you did get disciplined. I might not discipline her like I disciplined you because it's the grandchild. So she's not going to get the same things, but you got the same love, the same gifts, the same extra treatment. We're going for ice cream. We're going for this. Well, why'd you get that? You didn't need that. Well, she got it. And I did that for you. But you got a little extra discipline that I don't just give her. Because I shouldn't I don't now. I'm going to let you be the mother on that one. But I think for the hollering part, Divine, I wasn't a hollerer. Where Divine, on her hand, she thinks raising her voice changes the situation. I don't. I can just say, you know what, Dynasty, we're going to sit here until you get it together. And I don't mind sitting. I have the time. Or we're not going because we're still sitting here or whatever. But I don't need to holler. And so as a mother, and I might see it, I said, all right, Divine, you don't need to raise your voice. And I know now I would say that in front of Dynasty, but I might say later, and I'm working on it. Okay, Divine, listen, you might have handled it a little different, or don't holler because it hypes up the situation. It gets her riled up too. So I'm learning how to take the sidebar and go over here instead of doing it in front of her. I had to learn that because then she would ride on that or want to hide behind me, and then I got to protect her from nothing because nothing's going to happen. We all have fun together for the most part. Then when my mom's in there too, she got her sayings and her ways of doing that. I think, what's Dynasty doing? You better get with her. I'm like, okay, Mom, she's okay. Yeah. So, yeah, we have fun together. It's all out of love.
Do you see your parenting at all reflected in how I parent? Like, what is the same or different?
I think you are much more a generationally, even though you and I are only 15 years apart, I feel like you parent like people in this new age parent. You do a lot of talking to Lyric, you do a lot of allowing Lyric to explore her feelings and her thoughts. And those are things that would have never even, I mean, at 15, it's like, gonna do what we're gonna do, and you're gonna do what I say to do, and here's where we're going, and here's what you're wearing, and no questions are going to be asked. And you, thankfully, were not a challengey ask questions person. Now, if you decided to try and parent Lyric that way, it would not work for you. So I'm glad that you parent the way that you parent, because she is me and she is going to ask the questions about the things. And so I don't think we parent a lot alike at all. I do think that the things that we do alike are, you and I have very similar foundational like principles, things that we believe and things that we stand for and stand by. So I think that the way you parent comes from that space. And so if anything, I can see that. But I could not do what you do, how you do it at all. I could not parent myself because I am someone who is challenging. I don't want to, if you are going to tell me to do a thing, I need to know why. I need to know what's going to happen downstream. I need to know, are there other options that we could consider? And Lyric is very much like that. Very much like that. And so that seems exhausting.
Like, did you see my bag?
For, it seems very exhausting. And so, bless your heart for the things. Because Lyric is a lot like me. And so I could not, you see memes all the time about parenting your parents and like what that would look like. Like, you are not going to have any problem with me when you have to parent me and take care of me later on, because you're parenting me while you're parenting your child. So just keep that same, write a journal of the things that you're doing. Those are the things you will be doing for me. Yes. It's going to be easy. It's going to be easy.
Oh, Lord. I love it. I love it. I know. I think it is special. I think there does have to be a distinction. And I appreciate y'all for your candidness, right? Because there is this thing about raising us and also raising children. And so I am grateful to see that you all can have a true grandparent relationship, and it doesn't feel like it has to be a second parent relationship, but more so just, I mean, unless your grandchild calls and puts you as their second parent, but we won't go there today.
That's part two.
My child does.
Part two. Stay tuned. Part
Watch that in another episode. But okay, we want to end on some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So it's just like this or that, and you just say the word of whatever it is. Okay, so we're gonna take turns asking you, and you just say the word. So the first one is, which generation is harder to parent? Our generation or your grandkids' generation?
Grandchildren.
Ooh. Yeah, probably grandchildren.
Okay.
So the next one is, who is the stricter parent? Us or you guys?
Oh, you for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
You think I'm stricter with Lyric than you were with me? No.
Oh.
Oh, I was stricter with
No.
Divine.
I was maybe stricter with you.
I was stricter with Divine only because she was slick. Like, she knew how to do things. Dynasty's mind doesn't even take her there.
Yeah.
So I had to be stricter with her. Dynasty's more playful and more just maybe not listening or something little. But I had to be stricter.
Okay. The next one is, who's more spoiled? Us, or were we more spoiled, or our kids?
The
grandkids.
Grandkids, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're spoiled by multiple generations, right? Like us, you, and the grandparents, the great grandparents, if they were around.
You have to for me, I was more financially stable now than I was when I had my kids. So I could, Divine often talks about, Mom, you brought me Skechers or something. And Dynasty's wearing Nikes and Jordans and this and that. But she always wants to go back to, Mom, remember when I used to wear Skechers?
And now our kids, oh, we want Jordans, no problem. Already the mail. Color.
Yeah. You know how we do.
We're able.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's different.
Thank God.
Okay, next hot take. What's one grandma rule that you break behind our backs?
Or have broken behind our backs?
For sure, the vegetarian rule.
Oh, that's a rule?
Lyric became vegetarian when how old was she, Brandy? 6. And every time she came over, we'd go to Chick-fil-A. And every time she'd come over, we'd make pancakes and bacon. And Lyric would eat. I would get scared that she was going to be sick. I would let Lyric eat
not used to
whole pack of bacon. It was when she first became vegetarian. I mean, she would eat the bacon so fast.
She loved it.
And so she loved it, and she wanted it, and she needed it. I mean, and I needed to give it to her.
But there was a vegetarian.
There did come a point when she was probably a year into being vegetarian, maybe 2, where she would come over and I'd be like, "You want some bacon?" And she didn't want it anymore. So I was like,
okay.
I guess you like a real vegetarian now. So no more meat or anything. But I broke that rule for as long as I could. Because I was like, you're vegetarian, but
laugh about it. They still laugh about it.
We remember that time you ate that whole bacon?
I would say for me and Dynasty, I like to play games on it, like late at night before I go to bed. And Divine said she can't have no phone time, no tablet time, and we're under, because she sleeps with me. She has a bedroom here, but she ain't never got in that bed once. So she's at my bed, and she come up, and y'all go to bed, and it's 1 or 2, and she's playing, even if we're doing Scrabble or we're just doing something, it doesn't have to be a game she likes. But she's not supposed to have no computer time. If you're in bed with me, you're going to get a little. And then I fall asleep and she watching
and she's
YouTube.
Still up. Yeah, she's still up.
And she's still up. And she's like, yeah. And she tells on herself, yeah, I was watching this on her. Thanks to that, man. Like trying to get me in trouble. And she would tell on you too. I'm like, you ain't going to stay up tomorrow if you keep that up. Okay. But yeah, she'll tell on you.
I love it. Well, we just have one last question for y'all, and we're going to round out the episode with this. What hopes do you have for your grandchildren? What is your biggest hope and dream for your grandchildren?
This is interesting. I think I've been thinking a lot about legacy and what you want to leave in the earth when you're no longer here. And I think when you get to a certain age, you do start thinking those types of things. And so, what I have always been hoping for Lyric is very similar to what I hoped for Brandy always, and still hope for her and pray for her. And that is that she just is the best version and the most healed version of what we have ever been in our family, right? So you always want the next generation to be better, to have more, to know more, to experience more, to be able to be more. And so my hope has always been that from what she's seen and experienced in our family, from what she experiences in the world, that she take those pieces of it to form the best version of herself and leave the pieces behind that she doesn't need, and that she, walk a path of what her destiny is, with boldness, with courage, with fierceness, with just a level of knowingness that she can be anything in the world that she wants to be. So I'm always trying to pour that into her. Sometimes I do it in a way that is, I give her permission to be spicy. I give her permission to be, to challenge the status quo. I give her permission to, own all of who she is. I call her these things that she may not be. She was chosen to give the 8th grade graduation speech out of, her 8th grade class. And I told her, I was like, okay, now 8th grade valedictorian, that's what I'm talking about. It's not valedictorian. There's no period. You are the valedictorian, and you need to own. You're giving the valedictorian speech, and that is who you are. And so just pouring into her those things that, were not poured into me, but that I think would have been just even more life-changing. So that's what I hope for her, that she knows that she is all that in a bag of chips, and that she owns that part of herself.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. Yeah, and for me, the same thing too. But also, I want you to be able to find happiness in yourself, and no matter what that looks like, no matter what your friends want to be, they want to be this, this, and this, and you still want to be an FBI agent, or you want to be spy because she likes espionage, or you want to be part of the KGB. It's something off the wall. You're like, huh? Yeah, I'm going to do this first, and I'm going to take care of babies. And then, she's doing it all. Okay, well, you can do that. But be happy with whatever you do and be the best you can be. Yeah. And then I always say, and remember, pray and ask God in your heart to stay. We always put God in there because, you got to represent God. But before you do anything else, it's like remind you, okay, you got to pray. And then you see God first with whatever you decide to do. And she's very athletic too. So I do remind her, I said, you're the fastest one there. She said, but thanks, some boy beat me. Well, you're still better. You're faster. And you're fastest girl there. Okay, the boy did that, but you're still faster. He said, I gotta have these nice sneakers. Which ones, baby? Which ones do you need? Because you're gonna be fast. But you just remind them, like you said, reassure them of who they are. You put into them. So that's what, we do too. So that we want the best for them. Just like we want it for y'all. We want that to be passed down. And we think y'all did a great job and are doing a great job. I'm proud of both of you. I'm proud of you. That you still strive to succeed. Yep. And see, your girls see that. And it's wonderful that you have girls so they can see that are going to grow up to be young, strong women. They see what you go through, and they see your support. They see your support. So I think that's very important. Very important. So
that was really
heartfelt.
Yes. Happy belated Grandparents' Day. Y'all are going to see
Thank
this,
you.
yes, a little bit after Grandparents' Day, but thank you for being support. Thank you for
Oh,
being
yeah.
this example of grandparents. Thank you for all of the things, because I think you're right. Just like you said at the top, like all the support means the world. And I think I couldn't imagine, I think I could speak for Divine too, but I couldn't imagine better examples of women who are striving, who are strong, who are supportive for our daughters. So happy belated Grandparents'
Thank
Day.
you.
Thank you for
Thank
joining.
you. Happy
Thank you,
belated
ladies,
Mother's
for
Day.
having us.
Y'all are the greatest mothers you can be. So
Oh,
remember that, and you'll be the only mothers they'll have. So
Yeah.
keep being great.
yeah.
Keep being great. Yeah.
Love y'all. We're so
We
proud
love
of
you. Yes. Both of you.
Thank
Much
you.
love. Much love.
Yes. And until next time, to our
Yes.
Yup friends, we love you all too.
And until they get their own grandparents podcast,
Oh,
please do
yeah,
it.
we need to. Why not? I'll get your number.
Real, raw, and unhinged.
All day.
We need the grandbabies on here with
Well,
us.
and
My
stay tuned.
granddaughter.
Look, stay tuned for part 2.
Yeah.
We done already put it up.
Part 2, because there's definitely some nuggets
We
in there.
still got a lot to say. We're not done, but
There you go.
we'll end it for y'all.
We were nice this time around. We're going to bring our full selves next time.
We gonna get raw, girl. We gonna get raw.
Grandmas and cocktails.
Okay.
We gotta get our fancy wine glasses.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
I love
guys.
it. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.
If you enjoyed the Up podcast, please subscribe, share, and leave a comment.
And visit youngunitedparents.org for the information, community, and resources young moms and dads need to thrive.